What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition.
Bright and early on a Saturday morning, it is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning, everybody. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. It's game day, Southern versus Alabama State. It's the Pete Richardson Classic. And we're going to get things rocking and rolling here early this morning because guess what? We're going to do some ticket giveaways for anybody out there that want to attend the Pete Richardson Classic, Southern versus Alabama State today. And today here in the studio to help give away some tickets, we got Lady Jaguar, Miss Judy Martin Davis. Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going, Perry?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Man, I'm fired up, delighted, and ready to go.
All right, real quick. Lady Jaguar, how did you get the name?
Oh, man. I tell you what. Let's just dip and dabble back in 2000. Okay? Actually, it was 1999. Mama Jaguar, who I tell you what, was mother to me.
Mm-hmm.
After my mother passed away, she kind of took me under her wings, and we would just communicate just a little bit. But then when we won the championship, that's when the real lather, the mix, came into being. And towards the time that she was not able to come back on the field, she made a request, simple request. After church, we come over. She said, Judy Martin Davis, I need a favor from you. I said, what's that? I need you to assist these kids in making their way. I said, by doing what? She said, you're a great cook, and you're Lady Jaguar. And I'm like,
I was like back in the day, you got night. You just...
Yeah. But first she suggested Mama Jaguar, and then we sat down and we had that talk. I said, you get one mother. You only get one. And, well, we got to think of something. And she did. She did think of something. Willard LeBrie also was part of, kind of like coming with an idea in keeping it in order. You get one mom. And Lady Jaguar is a volunteer. This is my real job over here, guarantee. But what we do is empower them. We give them. We help them. We pray for them. And my whole idea is not just success on the field, it's success in life, making an impact, a difference. You know, empower somebody. Each one reach one. Unity in the community. that sort of thing, just empowering them and letting them know one verse that sticks in my head: the wages of sin is death, but God's gift is eternal life.
Mhm.
So we have to be that example, demonstrate that, and give them what they need as a mom, a mentor,
Mhm.
a friend, a counselor. That's what we do in making a difference here in the community with Southern University.
I think you hold the world record. Did you know that?
You're telling me something I didn't know.
I think you hold the world record
come on.
for the most flags, Jaguar flags on one vehicle. I think you hold a world record. How many flags? How many for the fans out there in terms of your pride? How many flags you got out there on that vehicle today?
Man, we're just doing it up small till homecoming. We're gonna do it just real small. We just start off. I think today I probably have about.
Come on, give me an honest number. What you think?
Maybe about just 12 today.
12.
But
Just
man,
12.
just 12.
All I got is my little 2 that's flying. You
man.
got 12 of. So y'all need to step y'all pride up out there. She got 12 of them flying, letting them know who's coming through. So today, because it's the Pete Richardson Classic, Southern versus Alabama State, we want to give away some tickets today.
You better know it.
And
Let's do this.
All right. For anybody out there looking to go to the Southern versus Alabama State game today, you want to go there for free. You want some tickets. I need you to call in 225-499-1073. And what all do they have to do in order to, if they win these tickets, what all do they have to do?
And we're going to change this when they win these tickets. They're going to do this and they're going to give me a call. I will personally be on campus because we know the show will be up at 9. If that works for you, you can call me directly, 225-803-3062. That number again, 225-803-3062. And
they're going to have to show you some ID, too.
Yeah, of course.
All right, we got a call. Let's go to the call line, Mike. Let's see who we got this morning. Good morning. It's the Jaguar Journal. You trying to go to the Pete Richardson Classic this morning?
I am.
What's your name?
Quentin.
Quentin, what's up, man?
What's going on?
Well, guess what? Quentin is the winner.
Quentin has done it. Quentin.
I'm a winner?
You are the winner. You're the first one to call in. You snooze, you lose.
Man.
So we are ready to send you to the Southern University. That's Alabama versus Southern University today.
To Pete Richardson Classic. So, Quentin, congratulations.
Woo-hoo.
If you stay on the line, Quentin, what we'll do, we'll get all your information, man, and she'll be able to correspond with you. You going to the game today, Quentin.
How about
all right,
that?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, man. Stay on the line. All right. What else we got, Mike, before we go? Good morning. You are the next caller. How are you?
What do you say, Perry?
Nothing much. What's going on?
Not too much. Joe Bowie, man.
Joe, you trying to go to the game today?
I am.
Woo-hoo.
Well, Joe, I'll hook you up. You are a winner, Joe. You going to the game today.
Let's do
All
it.
right.
Let's hear it for
We
Joe
do
and
appreciate
Quentin.
it.
Woo-hoo.
You going to the Southern versus Alabama State, Joe. I'm
Okay.
happy for you guys. We got Quentin and Joe going to the game
Quentin
today.
and Joe, they're going to make a difference.
Yep,
That's putting butts in seats. And my phone is ringing off the hook.
it is.
I tell you
You
what.
just gave your number, and that's
I
what's
know,
happening.
and I'm loving it. Just blow it up because you know what? It's all about putting butts in seats. That's the campaign.
That's what we're
Butts
trying
in
to do.
seats.
That's what we're trying
Come
to do
on
this
out
morning.
and see Southern University at its finest.
Well, I thank you for coming in this morning. We got 2 quick winners right quick. It didn't take no time to get people to look. You say you want to go to something for free? Southern?
Ha.
Hey, I want to go to Southern.
In the house. In the house. Thanks so much, Perry, for having me.
Mhm.
I'm fired up and excited. And go Jags, go Big Blue.
There we go, everybody. Let's get ready to take a break. When we come back on the other side, we'll continue more of the Jaguar Journal.
Quincy Richard is the quarterback. And, Don, this is a man who's really changed his game from last season, and he's a graduate student as well.
Yes, he has, Bob. Quincy Richard has matured into the unquestioned leader of this Southern University offensive attack. 10 wins this season, and he set school marks for passing yards and touchdown passes. And Bobby's had a lot of help. Only 5 sacks on the season.
He earned his undergraduate degree back in August. He's taking some master's classes, and he wants to be a lawyer.
Here's Richard looking in the end zone. Has a man there. Touchdown, Southern University.
Play clock down to 3. Richard gets it off over the middle. Touchdown!
Holmes goes in motion and comes set on a 1st and 10. Richard completes it. That's Ard. Ard down the sideline. He could go. And finally pushed out of bounds. Richard's run for 10 touchdowns this season. He's going to keep it. Richard goes in. Make it 11 for Quincy Richard. Richard wide open. Touchdown, Chris Davis. Oh, does he love playing football even more now?
That in the flag against Grambling, holding on the kickoff.
Richard looking deep, and it's a touchdown.
But only 3 times did he go down. Twice he ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. It goes down as a sack.
2nd and 8, the deep ball, and that's our man, Chris Davis, for the touchdown. Time for today's State Farm Players of the Game. And from Southern University, the quarterback, number 15, Quincy Richard, 34 of 42, 552 yards, 5 touchdown passes.
Quincy, on behalf of State Farm Insurance Companies, I want to present you with a trophy for the most outstanding player today. Congratulations.
All right, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning, everybody. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us this morning. Look, we've given away tickets this morning. Oh, man, people are going to the Southern game today on us, on the house right here at the Jaguar Journal. Glad to have those winners, man, and glad to have you guys with us. Everybody listening on Talk 107.3 FM out there across the Baton Rouge capital city area, and everybody watching across the world on our YouTube and Facebook Live. Good morning. Man, it is Saturday. It's the first home game of the season. Baton Rouge is alive this morning. If you have not been out and about moving around like I have this morning, you just simply don't know. And want to thank Lady Jaguar for coming in. Guess what? She brought us some donuts this morning. Mike, you gonna eat all of them? You gonna save me one? Okay, how many have you had? Okay, just one. All right, that's all. Look, I'm not gonna tell y'all where these donuts from, but I just know when that light is on, I don't care. It's like the Batman sign in the sky. I don't care where I'm at. I find a way to go get them when they coming fresh off the line. Hopefully that should tell you enough. Until they sponsor us, I ain't giving no names. They ain't giving no names on this show until they get that bottom line sponsorship right there on there. Man, I hope you guys have had a great week. Listen, I'm going to give you guys a chance just like I did last week. You called and you talked to me about the North Carolina Central game. Now call and talk to me about the Mississippi Valley game. Don't just talk to me in losses. Talk to me in wins, too. It's something to learn from everything, all right? And so you're going to be open to do that. The call line today is 225-499-1073. The call line is 225-499-1073. I'll be giving away some more tickets a little bit later in the show. And here in about 5 minutes, we're going to have the athletic director at Southern University, Roman Banks, is going to join us here on the show. He's going to talk to you about some things that have changed with Southern University on game days. If you have not already seen it in the media and looked around, he's going to come on and talk to you about how the evolution of Southern Game Day has then moved into 2025. That way, as you head over the hump today, you won't say, I did not know. Did nobody say anything? And that you were completely clueless. I want you guys to be on point when you head over so you won't have anything to simply come back on you. All right. So, man, it has been a long week, man, as we come into this day of Saturday. Just sound like I'm just going on and on. But I had a late game last night. Of course, you guys know I officiate. I had a game went into overtime last night, man. I was a little tired. I was running a little behind this morning, trying to make sure everything was good and get it going. But always, my man Mike makes sure everything is good behind the scenes, and we up rocking and rolling. So I'm trying to get myself going this morning at the same time, trying to just – the energy is here. And I hope y'all hear me with my voice and my passion right now. The energy is high. And shout out to all my tailgaters out there that's listening to us in Jaguar land over there across that hump this morning as they getting those pots and grills rolling, filling those ice chests up, and, man, you know, with that good stuff. I'm looking for that good stuff today. Y'all going to be on that good stuff? Of course you are. It's a game day. What else you going to be doing? Just drinking water? Which you should drink water, okay? I'm an advocate for hydrating your body. We don't need you passing out today because you think you still 21. That's the age I'm going to go with. 21, thinking you can still just go hard. Get you some water. Eat you some food. Take care of yourself this morning, all right? As we get ready to prep for today's kickoff, Southern versus Alabama State. A little bit later in the show, of course, my man Zach McKinnell, a.k.a. Blue, from FCS Football Central is going to join us. We're going to break down today's ball game between Southern and Alabama State because when we look on the other side for Alabama State, they are a tough opponent today. There's no better opponent you can ask for in your first home game. If you're looking for the level of competition that'll be on the field today, they're led by their star quarterback, Andrew Body, who transferred in from Texas Southern. I am high on Andrew Body, and you'll hear that today. I have no problem publicly voicing where I stand in today's game, but you'll hear more about that later on in the show as we break down the game today and we look for more of what it is going to be in this matchup. Somebody said the RVs are out everywhere. That's right, Kevin Walker, and good morning to all of our RV listeners, people just pulling up in their cars out around the mini dome and around the campus. Turn the Jaguar Journal up. Let that thing roar all across the bluff this morning because it's game day. It's the Pete Richardson Classic. They'll be honoring the 1995 Southern University National Championship team today as well at this game. So, and then Pete Richardson's birthday is happening. It's a lot going on, and today it should feel festive. And the only way to cap this off is with a Southern University victory. Do you believe? That's what I want to know. You let me know in the comment section. Do you believe? Do you think Southern is going to win today? Give me your scores in the comment section today of Southern and Alabama State. Also, give me your score to the Grambling-Ohio State game today. I want to know what you think. Forget the bands. What you think today's score of the Grambling-Ohio State game is going to be? Tell me down in the comment section. Everybody who had an opportunity to watch the Southern versus Mississippi Valley game on last week, I got to give a shout-out to two Southern alums, Mo Carter and my man Reggie Flood. Both of them were on the call on SWAC TV last week up at Itta, Mississippi. They had an opportunity to call the Southern and Valley game, man, and good job to them. Those are two Southern alums. So when our alums are doing something, man, we got to shout them out and show them love. So Reggie Flood and Mo Carter, man, congratulations on you guys coming together and working for SWAC TV, man, and broadcasting those games. Hope to hear your voices here in the future on some more games, man. But give me your score of Southern and Alabama State if you're in the comment section on our YouTube and Facebook Live, and give me the score of the Ohio State and Grambling game. I want to see how ridiculous can you get with the Ohio State and Grambling game. But give me your scores today for Southern and Alabama State. It is the Pete Richardson Classic. Good morning to everybody. I'm glad to have you guys with us. And as we get ready to go to break, when we come back on the other side, we're going to have Southern University Athletic Director Roman Banks going to talk to us about game day changes and procedures so you guys can be up to date on everything you need to know as you head over the bluff for today's big game, the Pete Richardson Classic, Southern versus Alabama State. We'll be right back, everybody. More of the Jaguar Journal. It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe
to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well, over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
Best, and they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth-quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
He really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. I have a 4-year-old son, and, when he was born, I had to grow up fast, and, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. 1st down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. 1st down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the 1st down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks has a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's in the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it out to the 10. And 2nd and 11 after the holding penalty. Sidearm toss.
We are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. It is game day, Southern versus Alabama State, the Pete Richardson Classic. Want to say good morning to everybody, to all of our listeners out there listening on Talk 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge capital city area, and everybody watching across the world on our Facebook Live and our YouTube Live. Glad to have you guys with us. I see you interacting in the comment section with us on today's broadcast. And as we move closer into today's show, I want to welcome the athletic director from Southern University, my man, Roman Banks. Good morning.
Good morning, P. How you doing?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Oh, man. Game day.
I keep wanting to say, Coach Roman Banks, are you ready to hang up the whistle?
Well, I'm still coaching. I don't know about hanging up the whistle, so that's fit. Just coaching another dynamic, that's all.
There we go. All right, let's get straight to business today because it is all business as Southern and Alabama State take on each other in the Pete Richardson Classic. It is the first home game of the season for the Southern Jaguars, who have been on the road for the past 2 weeks. And as you welcome the thousands of fans, as we say, over that hump on Swan Street, the back of the campus at the Bluestone Gate, all of those interests to come into campus, things have changed. And you're here this morning to give us some information. Let's first start on the side of parking. What has changed with the information that needs to go out for our listeners today to go with parking as they come over the hump for the game today?
Well, Pete, one thing I want to say is that we're certainly excited about all the new progress going on our campus. We are fortunate that our administrators and our politicians and our board members have all come together to secure 7 new buildings. But therefore, that has put us in a situation where parking is very limited, and we had to change a few things. And so one of the things that I want to talk about is if you have general parking, if you're coming up there for the first day, you don't have reserved parking or you're traveling in town, we want to make sure that you use the Mills Gate, and that's affectionately known by the Blue Store. And I think that if you use the Mills Gate, you come in and you're closer to the parking where you need to be. We have limited general parking on Harding and Swan. We have the other place that you can come in is on Swan, but it's very limited on Harding. So I want everybody to remember, if I'm coming up there for the first time, general parking, your best route is probably to be able to use the Mills Gate.
Let's talk about parking. What is payment like? Is it cashless? Is it cash? What do people need to do if they come on campus to be prepared to pay for parking?
So what we're doing is we're moving to the digital side, but we're prepared for cash. You know, this will be our first experience, and so we're prepared to take cash, but we also hopefully that we can do more digital transactions than we can cash. This will be our first time, so we have not excluded the cash side of paying for anything on as it relates to game day parking, and but we do think it's a smoother transition. We also let me go back to parking for a minute. If you have reserved parking, one of the things that you could do if you have reserved parking, and especially if you're in the D lot, you must come over Harding Boulevard and get in the right lane. Say that again. If you have D lot, anything with D on there, you must, in reserve parking, you must come over Harding Boulevard and get in the right lane. And if you have reserved parking other than D, you also can enter Swan Street. But if you have a D parking because of the construction, they have taken out a road, then you must come over the Harding Boulevard exit.
For everybody out there listening, it's the voice of Athletic Director at Southern University, Roman Banks. Hey, Roman, let's now talk about tickets today. What has changed and what ways can people present their tickets at the gates to get into the game? And what times does the gates open to get fans in?
Good question. I'm glad you asked that. So, obviously, you know that we go on to digital ticketing, and we're going to ask that everybody download their tickets. Last year we had a problem. Our width-band on campus wasn't strong enough. I know everybody used to say, I get to the gates and I can't get my tickets. Where obviously our width-band wasn't strong enough on campus. And so, therefore, we had a problem with that. So we're asking everybody to download their tickets. Now, we have upgraded that service. We have the campus have partnered with AT&T, and as you see, we have more towers that's on that campus to try to make sure that would help us with our cellular service for downloading. But we still anticipate a large crowd, so there may be some problem with download your tickets. So please download your tickets. So all you have to do is come in and we can scan your tickets. The scanners don't go out, but the problem was downloading tickets. The second thing, as it relates to that, is that our stadium opened 2.5 hours earlier. And so here's one of the things that we've been trying to do is give our people with limited mobility and people that want to get in the stadium, the game started at 6 o'clock. The stadium opened at 3:30. Take advantage of it. Come in an hour early. Get your seat, sit down, go to the concession stand. The line won't be long, and get you something to eat, get your popcorn, and get ready for the show. And so we think if we do those things, because what happened is, as sure, just like myself, I want to get there early, but everybody always gets there about 30 minutes before the game, and then the line gets to be long, and everybody wondering why the line so long. So that's because everybody's trying to come in at the same time. So take advantage of the stadium being open early and get in there early, get your seats, and I think that'll take a lot of pressure off the gate.
You know, for my fans out there that are listening that want to get on that drink today, and they're going to get in that stadium, Roman, after they on that drink, and they're going to be a little hungry and a little thirsty, and you talking about concession stand, what is going on with concession? Is it cashless? Is it cash? How are they able to make that a smooth transition as they trying to get in that game and get themselves together?
So here's another thing. So make sure everybody understand this. Airmark runs concession stand. Athletics don't run concession stand. I get that email all the time about pricing and trying to do some things. They do work with us, but because Airmark run all food service on campus, and so we have spoken with Airmark. Airmark is giving you the same option. The digital option to come in to pay for your food. They haven't gone away from cash because, like last year, there were problems with the width band. So you do have both options. I think they're preferring to try to get going digitally. That's part of the upgrade method. But they will have both options open to the fan base today.
And let me ask this, for the fans, the walk-up fans who may not, download the tickets or buy them in advance, the ticket office, what time does the ticket office open today, and what are the ticket prices where people can be able to purchase those tickets when they come on campus?
All right, so we have several ticket prices. Our cheapest ticket is the end zone ticket. I think that's $20 or $25. And our highest ticket for the game, I think, is $45. I don't know what's available. Tickets been selling very well, so you have to go to the ticket office. The first ticket office, if you get there earlier and you get there from 9 o'clock until 12 o'clock, the F.G. Clark Activity Center, better known as the Mini Dome, ticket office is open. Aretha and her crew is there to help you. And then Aretha will transition at 2:30, to the Mumford Stadium to start selling tickets there. And so you got two options. You got an early option, and also you have the late option. If you're coming in a few hours for the game, then just go to Mumford Stadium, and we'll help you there. So ticket options for prices, that will vary about what tickets that are available and how many people that you're bringing. Perhaps we might have a set of two in a good section, and you want 5, then we have to change up and probably go to another section. So be willing and have an understanding that she'll have to work with you on your choices, and that depends on your prices.
Let's go back to parking one more time. I want to reiterate that so people can understand. That is very important and vital because, as you said, there are construction projects happening on campus, and for some people, they have not been on campus to realize what's going on, and so they may run into an issue and don't know. Once again, give them that information for parking in all ways of entrance of the campus and what they need to be able to provide in order to make that successful for themselves.
Okay, let me run through this one more time. And what we didn't talk about, and I want to make sure because we added space, P-Dub, for limited mobility, ADA. We have 2 general lots. That means if you're not a reserved season ticket holder, reserved people buy their stuff in advance, they're season ticket holders, they have all the reserved lots. If you have ADA and limited mobility and need service, we have two parking areas for you guys only. And the first one is Mills. As you come in on Mills, once again the blue store, right at the intersection where the light by the police station, right there at that corner. That's a limited mobility lot. The other general limited mobility lot is coming over Harding Boulevard. And when you come over Harding Boulevard, you go all the way through the checkpoint, and by Bradford Hall in the corner to the right, the old band parking lot is limited mobility. So I want to make sure that our limited mobility, that people understand that. And also, if everybody hear me as I continue to talk about the gates, don't want you to miss this. You can call 225-771-3171, 225-771-3171, and we'll be answering all your questions at that particular time and can help you find your way. So let me say this real quickly. If you have D, come over Harlan Boulevard, get in your right lane, and that will get you to most of all the reserved lots. If you have anything besides D, it's very important that you come down Swan because most of the lots are by the stadium other than the Mini Dome. It's the only other lot, if you're a media, come over Harding. All right, that's our V lot. Come over Harding by Seymour Gym at the caution light. And if you have O, those are the other reserved areas on Harding. Most of the lots that are reserved are on Swan. So if you have reserved, you can't go wrong on Swan, except if you have a D, you must come over the Harding exit. Now, the general gate that we're asking, you can come on Swan. We got a lot of parking behind the lab school, but we're asking you to come through Mills because when you come on campus, then you go toward the back of the campus, we can get you parked quicker at that particular time.
And what we're going to do with today's segment right there, we're going to clip it. Mike is going to get everything together. We're going to clip that, and we're going to put it out there. So for people who may not have caught this live with Athletic Director Roman Banks, you'll be able to find it on the Jaguar Journal's YouTube, Facebook, and all across social media where you can get this information. So if you didn't get all this information right now, you want to get more of it, just after the show, be sure to go to the Jaguar Journal across all social media as well as on our YouTube channel. We're going to clip it so you can get that information. You can share that information with anybody out there in order to make sure everybody is following what needs to happen. And this is just not for this game. This is going to be for the rest of the season with all of this put in place, correct?
Correct. And let me say this once again. Always emphasize clear bad policy. All our stadiums, arenas, everything on campus is clear bad policy. So everybody understands that. And also, one of the emphasis that the police department is forcing this year is that we do not allow side-by-sides of ATVs, all these gas, big vehicles on campus, and it's illegal for underage driving. So we have been summoned by law enforcement. They will be enforcing that. And so I asked them to take a friendly approach to get everybody, because that is against the rules. That's on the stadium rules when we send them out. But there have been a huge problem over the last couple of years with injuries and wrecks. And so they will start enforcing that. So please make sure we emphasize you only can have a golf cart on that campus.
You're such a nice guy. You told him to take a friendly approach.
Yeah, take a friendly approach. You know, I try to look out for my fan base and all that. You know, Southern is on 10 when it comes to tailgating, but we have to do something about it. I understand that we had several underage people having wrecks last year and running into people walking and wrecking cars. And so, first of all, the challenge is going to be to take away all gas motorized vehicles. So they will be enforcing that. So y'all, please hear the sound of my voice of what I'm saying, so you won't have a different expectation, because those would not be allowed.
You ready for the day, man?
Man, I'm excited about the day.
Big
I think
game.
looking at ticket sales are up. Obviously, I respect Alabama State. I think they have one of the better teams in our league, and so I think this is going to be a big game for us right out the gate.
Let me ask you this real quick before I get ready to let you go. For people out there, this is a non-conference game. We did a home and home, and 2 years ago we went to Alabama State. They're repaying a favor and coming here. Real quick, the non-conference with the conference game, with the conference teams like Southern Alabama State today.
So, you know, you want to make sure that you're playing, you know, in our case, sometimes it don't make sense to play some of the teams outside of our area, especially non-conference, that's not going to bring a crowd. The Alabama State game, historically in the past, was a big game, and really the way our football schedule is set by the conference don't allow us the opportunity to play. And so we're fortunate enough to have these dates to match up and schedule this game, which has been big for us because they had great attendance. It's going to look like we have great attendance. People haven't had, State and Southern haven't had this matchup in years. But let me tell you something, too. We keep saying it's a non-conference game, which it is. And I think everybody didn't quite understand when Coach Graves was saying that this game possibly can count, because the conference rule says that if it go down to a tiebreaker or need any SWAC team as it relates to standings, because we don't play everybody, that game can come up and possibly be the deciding factor, because that can be both teams' common opponent in the SWAC. So it's not a conference game, but when it comes to standings, the rules read a little different as it relates to common opponents, because they're still a SWAC team. So this is a big game for all type of reasons. No, we might not need it. It might not come down to this game, but because it's a SWAC opponent, it's a very important game on top of, because it's the next game.
It is, for sure. We're trying to go 1-0. You know our fan base.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this. The Pete Richardson Classic today, you're honoring Pete and as well as a championship team today.
Yeah, that's the 95 team that won the championship, went on to win a national championship. And so we're asking all of them to come to the game. We want them to be recognized. And obviously Coach Rich, he was the coach of that team, and he's a legend. I just think sometimes we have the best of the best right under us, and sometimes we don't realize, especially if you're not like yourself, who's a sports addict, they don't realize the history and the legacy that some of these coaches have left. And I say it all the time, we have had some of the best, and Coach Pete, Coach Kadar, Ben Jobe, and all these are national figures in their area of sports. And I just think it's important, since I come in, I've been trying to recognize them and other players and people that have done the same thing for their particular sports individually, and we're going to keep doing that. But Coach Rich has really made a difference in our football community. He's a highly sought figure, so we need to make sure that we're doing the right thing by him, recognizing him. And last night they had something on campus celebrating his birthday and all that, so it's been great.
Well, Coach, athletic director, Mr. Everything, all the titles you own, Roman Banks, everybody. If you did not know, he's the athletic director over at Southern University. Hey, thank you, Roman, for coming on this morning. I know you got a busy morning ahead of you.
Yeah, Jaguars, get out there. I don't want a ticket left for Alabama State. Alabama State got about 25 RVs out there. They say they come today. I don't even want them to be able to go in the game. Let's get out there. Let's show out. Let's do it.
Don't turn me up, all right? Hey, I get turned up.
It's time to be turned. There ain't no time to be turned down. It's time to be turned right now. Today a big day.
Hey, you got Mike smiling. Mike like that. All right, let's go then. All right.
Hey, now that's why you still call me coach, because I got to have it. You know, it still make my blood get to boiling. Let's go, Jaguar.
Thank you, Coach. Man, listen, everybody.
All right, have a good day.
You too, man. That is the voice of the athletic director at Southern University, Roman Banks. A big game today. Let's get ready to take a break, and we'll come back and close out this hour as we get ready for the second hour. So you guys stay tuned. Short break. We'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
HBCU top 5. All right, P. It's a new week. What you got for the people?
Hey, man, my new week, I'm going to start off my top 5 going into week 2. Week 1 was interesting, wasn't it? And number 5 coming in, Howard Bison. They were able to get past Florida A&M down at the Orange Blossom Classic against Florida A&M. Great win for Howard to start the season. Larry Scott and his team found a way to get it done. 10-9 was the final score. And, hey, they knocked off a top 5 team that was in my top 5 last week. And if that's how Howard's going to start the season right now because of where we at, hey, I'll take it. So Howard's number 5. We'll see what changes with that. Number 4, Prairie View was already kind of on the cusp last week. They were on the outside looking in, but I think Tremaine Jackson and what he showed me against Texas Southern Labor Day Classic over there in Houston, he showed, hey, the game on it ain't over until the clock hits 0. And Prairie View showed it. They got a victory against Texas Southern, who had beat them last year. And for me, not quitting in that game when they could have quit a couple times, found a way to win. They're 1-0 in the season. And right now, going into week 2, hey, that's what matters. Winning games, and they've won a game. They're number 4. Number 3, North Carolina Central. Of course, they started the season off 31-14 against Southern over in Atlanta with a victory. And then they got humbled last week against FCS New Hampshire. Was not a good showing for them, but I still think Trey Oliver has a team. They're 1-1 right now in the season. I think they'll bounce back, but it won't be this weekend. But I think down the line, they'll bounce back. So they're number 3 right now in my top 5. Number 2, Chennis Berry. Didn't see it happening, but he got it done against Wofford, 1-16-15. They're 1-0. This is still a team that played for a Black College National Championship last year, and I think he has his eyes set on playing for another one this year. And what a way to start the season, 1-0 against an FCS opponent in Wofford. They're number 2 on my list. And number 1, I got all the flack across the comments. Jackson State won the championship last year. Warren, we're number 1 in your poll. Well, guess what? You finally played the game and you won it. You're number 1 in my poll, and Jackson State is in the top 25 in the FCS. They moved up this week, and guess what? Getting it done against the CAA opponent in Hampton. 28-14 was the final score. So I got to roll with Jackson State. They are the highest ranked HBCU in the latest top 25 FCS poll. Matter of fact, they're the only HBCU ranked in the top 25 poll. So Jackson State back at the top, defending Black College National Champion. So Howard, number 5, Prairie View, number 4, North Carolina Central, number 3, South Carolina State, number 2, and Jackson State, number 1, going into week 2 for me. And guess what, people? It's going to change. Don't get your panties in the wire right now. There's plenty of football to go. Things are going to change. Who you see today, you may not see next week. So just hold your horses. It always works itself out.
All right, everybody, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us, man, as we continue to keep today's show going. We got just a little bit. Somebody's asking me about Tennessee State in the poll that they saw on our so we got a top 5 poll for our radio listeners on our social media and on our YouTube, and they asked me about Tennessee State. You get no points beating North Carolina A&T. I just want you to know that. You get no points. Now, Tennessee State is not the same team coming back from last year with Eddie George, right? They got Reggie Barlow I'll see how they look after this week. But you get no points with Perry White beating North Carolina A&T. That is a team that they're going to storm the field when they finally beat a D1 opponent like Northwestern State did against Alcorn. I'm just saying. A&T, you get no points for beating them. They're a homecoming opponent. They are the worst of the worst teams out there. And you get no points beating North Carolina A&T. All right? They are literally the worst of the worst when it comes to our level of the FCS. So that's why Tennessee State wasn't in my top 5. I just want you to know that you get no. And then 24-21 with North Carolina A&T, nah. I just can't give you no, nah. I'm sorry. Just want to put that out there. Somebody asked. I ain't going to put your name, but you asked. So, no, we ain't going to. No points for beating North Carolina A&T. Show me something this week, next week, and as we go on, then Tennessee State. But right now, no, not at all. So just want that to be out there, all right? They don't get it. So got 1 minute left. All right, want to thank Roman Banks for coming on to the show this morning. He gave the information. Mike is working right now behind the scenes to make sure we get that clip up. And if you want more information across all of that for today's parking, game day, concession, whatever else, all of that information is going to go up on our Jaguar Journal Facebook, all across social media and YouTube. So that's why I always tell you to keep up with the Jaguar Journal across all social media outlets. We are on X, we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on TikTok, we are on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button. We're also on Apple Podcasts as well as on Spotify. Now, I'm about to get ready to go to a break. When I come back on the other side, this is what y'all been waiting for. It's game day. It's time to talk some games. We done gave away tickets so far. We done talk game day's logistics. Now it's time to talk about the game itself. This is what you all ready for. And I'm going to talk about games around the SWAC because I know them Jackson State fans feel like they got an upset in the making. I'll give you a Lee Corso pick on that one. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal. All right, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you guys with us. I'm Perry White. Good morning to everybody on Talk 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge capital city area. And everybody out there or listening to us on our YouTube and Facebook. My bad, I just ate a couple of those donuts, so I'm trying to get myself back together. I've been over there gorging donuts while y'all been sitting there listening to commercials, trying to get my sugar intake and get going this morning. Listen. It is game day. Southern versus Alabama State, the Pete Richardson Classic. If you want to call in, listen, y'all called in all last week. Give me that same energy this week after a win. Don't just call me when it's down and after a loss and you want to complain, oh, we lost and I didn't like what I see and, you know how you rah-rah go. Talk to me after a win as well. 225-499-1073, 225-499-1073. Don't come on here and be a Debbie Downer just because when we lose, then you don't want to give me that same energy when we win. I need all of that energy because we got a whole season ahead of us. Do you realize we're only in week 2, but for Southern, it's really week 3 for us because we played in week 0. I've seen 2 games already headed into game 3. So it's a little bit different right now. So talk to me. If you've seen some football, if you watched the game last week, if you were at the game at Itabena, what did you see? What did you see? Anything you liked? Did you see anything you disliked? But there's no way we're going to do this team and this staff and only talk about the loss. Yeah, that loss to North Carolina Central, it hurt. Because guess what? It was on national television. What cuss words can I say, Mike? Can I cuss? Okay, I can't cuss. All right. You saw it on TV, all right? We got whooped up on. But then last week, we go to Valley. Hey, we get a win. And I put it out there. A win is a win. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. So the fact that we got the win, and let's talk about the win. Southern versus Mississippi Valley. The Jaguars travel up to Itabena, Mississippi. It was my first time in Itabena in more than 15 years. I have connections. My aunt graduated from Mississippi Valley, and she went on to get a master's at Jackson State. A little bit tidbit about myself. So y'all didn't even know I got the Mississippi connections. I know about the Delta, Itabena, Indianola, Greenwood, Leland, Mississippi. Back in the day, I used to have to get drugged to Blues Fest right over there in Greenville, and my folks right across the river on the Mississippi River in Lake Village, Arkansas. But nonetheless, very familiar area, but unfamiliar to a lot of people. And I realize that a lot of people have forgotten or have never been to that area of the country. It's the reason why they call it the Delta. It's a lot of historical perspective to it, and you have to really tie into your heritage and where a lot of people come from. A lot of people from the north migrated to the north from the south, and including my people, to Chicago, Detroit, Kansas City, Milwaukee. So just to give you guys a quick backdrop, I saw some people complaining about it. It was new to them. They didn't quite understand it. But Southern versus Mississippi Valley, the Jaguars get the victory 34-29. It was Valley's first game on the season. Let's look at the tail of the tape of this game. 20 first downs in this ball game for the Jaguars. They were 6 of 16 on 3rd down and 3 of 4 on 4th down. On the other side for the Delta Devils of Mississippi Valley, 14 first downs. They were 2 of 14 on 3rd downs and 1 of 3 on 4th downs. For Southern, 364 total yards of offense in this ball game, 152 in the air, 212 yards on the ground. On the other side for Mississippi Valley, 296 total yards of offense, 218 in the air, 78 on the ground. Southern had 2 costly turnovers in this ball game that kept Mississippi Valley around. They both by way of fumble. All right, let's look at the box scores. Cameron McCoy comes in to take over for Jalen Woods, and Jalen Woods was injured in this game. He ended up getting taken to the hospital. All reports from what I saw this week have come back negative, but he's still being held out, so Jalen Woods will not be ready to go today. Cameron McCoy will be the starter in today's ball game, and in this ball game, Jalen Woods started out 9 of 13 for 70 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. On the other side, Cameron McCoy, who will be starting today, he was 8 of 17 in this game for 82 yards and a touchdown. Listen, for a second consecutive week, we have no Southern quarterback that has passed over 100 yards because Southern wants to get it done on the ground. Jason Gabriel, Cameron McCoy, Mike Franklin, as well as Trey Holly. All of those guys are going to be what Southern is going to lean on hard. Now, I think the big thing for Southern, not creating those turnovers by way of fumbles, interceptions. We've done a great job in terms of limiting the interceptions for right now with this offense. For what I see with Southern, and this is Southern's offense, Inside zone, tight ends across the middle, deep ball up the field. That seems to be the offense right now. It's going to be a lot of inside zone. They're going to rely heavy on these backs. Now, what I want to see is Southern receivers step up. Darren Morris caught a nice pass right before halftime in the corner of the end zone, but the rest of this receiver corps is going to have to step up. Now, I got to give Cam Jefferson some credit. He hawked down a man last week and got him down to the 1 yard line, and Southern's defense held up and didn't allow Valley to score to get into the end zone right there in the red zone. Hell of a play and hustle by Cam Jefferson. Total hell of a play. Now, what's going to happen? You have to look at what Southern allowed their opponent last week getting into the red zone. For Southern's best interest, Valley could not knock and get through the door. Southern's defense held up in the red zone near the end zone multiple times. But you cannot live on that as we continue to go the rest of the season, especially with today's opponent. I'll talk more about today's opponent, but let's go to the caller. What's our first caller? CJ, good morning.
Good morning, Perry. How you doing this morning? Glad to see you with all the energy you got. And, Perry, you're right. We did have a couple of good plays last week by our defense and offense as well. But, Perry, we're going to get really manhandled today. We got a quarterback. Ain't nobody going to be able to stop because he's a man playing against boys. What we going to have to do is create something on offense that's going to do for us that no one else has done up to this point. We just got a common offense where we go off tackle, up center. We're going to have to do something that's going to stop them from stacking the line and plug our run game. So with that being said, we're going to have to come up with a better offensive play calling than what we've been doing. And I really don't think we got the ability to do that. Defense, we're going to have a challenge with it. And that's going to be a big challenge. But if we can play a good game, I would say you can keep Alabama State under 45 points a game. We probably get 24. So I'm going to say 45-24 is going to be our score. That's for today's game. Thank you.
Thank you, CJ. Let's go to another call. Who we got? All right, Chuck. Good morning, Chuck. What's going on?
Good morning to you. What you were just talking about this game coming up. It's a cause for concern. Playing Alabama State against an Andrew Body, and I was looking at you. I saw the game last Saturday against Valley, and I know you're running. I know that after Holly's performance, like I was telling you about Holly. Here's a man I watched him play in high school, and knowing he can, and Franklin's good too. And like I said, Holly went to 3 state championships. I know he came up short. Like I said, Madison Prep down in Baton Rouge beat him, and then Sterlington, and then Manny, and he didn't get the championship. And I know that I'll tell you that Sterling, what happened? They ended up getting their championship. Union got it after Holly beating St. James that year in 2023. But Holly, happened. You don't want to run these people and end up having the injuries. If I stand corrected, did Cam McCoy got hurt in that Valley game?
I'm not sure the injury. I just know it towards the end of the game, he was no longer in. They put in another quarterback. So.
Yeah, and one thing about it, you find out, it doesn't matter who you are. Valley really stood up to him, and like I said, and not saying that Southern can't win the game today. It's be up to the young men if they want it bad enough. But we're just looking at it from a realistic standpoint with having an Andrew Body there. As long as he's in that game, like you said, your last caller said, he said he's a man playing against boys, and I hate to put it that way, but this is where it is. He's that kind of ball player. He knows how to bring excitement to the game. We saw that at Texas Southern.
Well, Chuck, man, I appreciate you for the call this morning, man.
All right, you all take care, and everyone out there, if you're going out to the games, have fun and be safe out there.
All right, Chuck, thank you, man. Let's look at this game last week, man. On the opposite side of offense for Mississippi Valley, Josh Brown, their quarterback, went 12 of 25 for 146 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. They also played 2 quarterbacks, Brandon Nuez, 2 of 8 for 72 yards. But Josh Brown, what he was able to do, not only with his arm, but with his legs as well. Josh Brown also had 12 carries for 87 yards. That's what All right, that's what I circled today. Our defense been able to contain the mobile quarterback, not giving up the plays by the mobile quarterback with his legs. If you put the pressure on him, they have to force him to roll out of the pocket and be able to get out of the pocket. What are you going to do then to make those tackles? And that's what I saw last week as well. I saw some bad tackling also. Now, I'm going to talk about the win because the win is the win, and I'll take a win. And shout out to Coach Graves and his team because, listen, going to Itta, Mississippi is not an easy place to go play. The energy is low. There's not a lot going on. And if you ain't got no band and a few fans with you, that place can literally take it out you. Firsthand seeing it. So being able to come away with the victory, and listen, Mississippi Valley, Coach Buckley, much improved team. That Valley team, I know they went on the road and they beat FAMU last year. And in the past, they've beaten Prairie View and kept Prairie View out of the championship and beaten Prairie View before the championship. But what I saw out of that Mississippi Valley team last week, and it's not just because it was against Southern. Trust me, as the season goes on and they start to figure this thing out, that Mississippi Valley team is going to get some people. They are tough, especially if you have to go to Itta. And that's just not me talking. I think you guys have known I've watched, just like you, because I give you the same credit as me, a lot of football to know a team that has the potential. If they can turn those turnovers into touchdowns, which they did get one, a scoop and score, but if they can make those red zone appearances and get into the end zone, man, we're talking a different ball game. And Southern shot itself in the foot with the turnovers, keeping the game close. It seemed like every time they were about to pull it, they kept it close. But what I got to do, I got to get ready to take a break right now. That's enough of the Southern Valley game. Now let's talk about today's game, Alabama State and Southern. So let me get ready to take a break. When we come back on the other side, my man Blue is going to join me. We're going to break it down and look at what Bama State has on the roster. We know Andrew Body. It's time to get you the rest of them. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be back more of the Jaguar Journal.
Quincy Richard is the quarterback. And, Don, this is a man who's really changed his game from last season, and he's a graduate student as well.
Yes, he has, Bob. Quincy Richard has matured into the unquestioned leader of this Southern University offensive attack. 10 wins this season, and he set school marks for passing yards and touchdown passes. And Bobby's had a lot of help. Only 5 sacks on the season.
He earned his undergraduate degree back in August. He's taking some master's classes, and he wants to be a lawyer.
Here's Richard looking in the end zone. Has a man there. Touchdown, Southern University.
Play clock down to 3. Richard gets it off over the middle. Touchdown.
Holmes goes in motion and comes set on a 1st and 10. Richard completes it. That's Ard. Ard down the sideline. He could go. And finally pushed out of bounds. Richard's run for 10 touchdowns this season. He's going to keep it. Richard goes in. Make it 11 for Quincy Richard. Richard wide open. Touchdown, Chris Davis. Oh, does he love playing football even more now?
That in the flag against Grambling, holding on the kickoff.
Richard looking deep, and it's a touchdown.
But only 3 times did he go down. Twice he ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. It goes down as a sack.
2nd and 8. The deep ball, and that's our man, Chris Davis, for the touchdown. Time for today's State Farm Players of the Game. And from Southern University, the quarterback, number 15, Quincy Richard. 34 of 42, 552 yards, 5 touchdown passes.
Quincy, on behalf of State Farm Insurance Companies, I want to present you with a trophy for the most outstanding player today. Congratulations.
All right, everybody, we're back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Glad to have you guys with us. I'm Perry White. Good morning to everybody out there listening on Talk 107.3 FM around the Baton Rouge capital city area, and everybody out here watching across the world on our YouTube and Facebook page. It is game day. It's the Pete Richardson Classic. It is Southern versus Alabama State. And you know I got to talk some FCS football when it comes to around the SWAC with my man. He's no stranger to the show. My man, Zach McKinnell, a.k.a. Blue. What's up, Zach?
What's up, man? I know you're ready for today, man. Big game down there in Baton Rouge today.
Definitely is, man. This is football. This is what we're looking for, man. And for Southern, hey, every week seems to be a big game. And, man, I cannot overlook today's opponent because Alabama State is a formidable opponent. Don't let that 0-1 record fool you, ladies and gentlemen, as they come in today. Let's go back to last week looking at Alabama State taking on UAB, the University of Alabama at Birmingham. Of course, they on the FBS level. Alabama State right there in Montgomery, UAB in Birmingham. So a battle of two Alabama schools, and this was a hell of a game. I was excited watching this game. I was on the phone with my boys. We were all watching it saying, my God, I almost cussed, Mike. You said no cuss words. My God, what kind of athlete is Andrew Body going to be this year if he can stay healthy? And everybody out there, 52-42 was the final score between UAB and Alabama State. Let me just go through Alabama State on here for you. 26 first downs. I was very impressed on third downs. 13 of 15 on third downs. 514 total yards of offense. 312 in the air. 202 on the ground. And one turnover. And that one turnover was costly for Alabama State. If you ask me, that what changed the dynamic of the game. It was Andrew Body throwing a backwards pass to his running back, Hossclaw, who just never could quite get his foot set in that backwards pass, of course, is a live ball. UAB gets the ball. But Andrew Body in this ball game, 18 of 24 for 312 yards, passing for 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. And if that was not enough, how about 16 carries for 119 yards and a touchdown with his longest run of 60? He had some other runs in this game that was just as dynamic that were called back because of penalties. And then from the wide receiver position, Jalen Jones, 6 receptions for 174 yards and a touchdown. His longest reception in that ball game was 69 yards. There's some offense for Alabama State. Now, one of the things Alabama State has predicated themselves off of in the past is their defense. And, of course, they were going up against an FBS team in UAB, but they had no answers for UAB at all, especially UAB's running game. So I'm sure Southern is sitting back looking at it, but Southern is not UAB when it comes to offense nor the team. But Southern is going to have to look at that tape and say, what can we take advantage of defensively to try to make sure and offensively to make sure we can contain Alabama State today. And Blue, let's look at this ball game. Let's first talk about Andrew Body's performance against UAB. That was one of 500-plus yards of offense that if you watch that game at the end of the game, even Trent Dilfer, the head coach of UAB, walked up and I read his lips. He said, "You one hell of a ball player."
Yeah, I mean, Terry, this is exactly what everyone thought Andrew Body was going to be when he initially signed with Texas Southern. And people forget this is the culmination of all the injuries and all the development that this kid's went through since, 2 years ago. He set the single-season record at Texas Southern for total offense. And it was the most complete performance I think we've seen from a quarterback against an FBS school for a SWAC quarterback in a long time. And it was so impressive, man. And I know people that try to downplay it, Perry, because UAB sucks or whatever it may be, but this is a kid that every single level of the field he attacked. He threw for 66 yards and a touchdown on medium passes. He was 6 for 7 with a touchdown on short passes. He was 4 for 5 with 2 touchdowns on deep passes, 3 big-time throws. He was efficient throwing the ball at all 3 levels and made plays in crucial moments, Barry, where he converted on some major third downs in that game. And the one thing I am a little bit concerned about, Perry, to kind of tie this into today's game is Southern struggled last week at times with Joshua Brown when Valley put him in the quarterback with his dual threat ability. Joshua Brown had 87 yards, averaged 7.3 per carry, and threw 2 touchdowns. If Bama State can let Body be the type of playmaker he was last week, I think they could exploit something where Southern showed that maybe they don't really have the defense to hang with an athletic quarterback that can get out of the pocket and make some plays, because it's a completely different challenge compared to what Southern went up against in week 0, where Walker Harris really wasn't going to get out of the pocket and make any plays.
Yeah, for me, for Southern in this ball game, going against this offense that we've seen of Alabama State last week, and if that is a sample of what we're going to see, it's going to be high power, and you're going to have to score a lot of points, it seems, to keep up with Bama State, and that's where I think Southern is going to struggle at. Southern wants to run the ball, and we've seen even in that North Carolina Central game, when they get behind, it is tough to make those plays for Southern to get back in it because they just don't have the passing game right now. For the second consecutive week, no quarterback has passed over 100 yards for Southern, but they have been able to run the ball, one of the top in the conference so far with a game against North Carolina Central and against Mississippi Valley at running the ball. Let's look at in the trenches in this game, Blue. Let's look at Alabama State's offensive line, who I thought played really well against UAB, opening up lanes for the run game and protecting Andrew Body to keep him in the pocket to make the pass, as well as when he rolls out. But what does the trenches look like for that Alabama State offensive line?
Yeah, that was their strength coming into the year, Perry. They returned 4 starters on the offensive line. I'm a huge fan of Cameron Smith at offensive tackle. I think he's, in my opinion, the best offensive lineman they have returning. I believe Desmond Daniels was the first-team All-SWAC at the other tackle, but my pick would have been Cameron Smith. I think Cameron has a higher upside and has been better as an overall offensive lineman for me. They get Jeremiah Frazier back at guard. Desmond Penn is back at center. And I think you saw last week, man, the offensive line performed pretty well. I know Body's athleticism got him out of some situations, but Perry, you went back and looked at the advanced analytics from last week. I mean, Body was pressured only on 10 dropbacks last week. So not terrible. I think that came up to like a 30% pressure rate. You like to see that go down a little bit. But the good thing for Bama State, in my opinion, Perry, and this to tie it into the Southern game, is outside of Kelby Gibbons, who is the other person on Southern's defense that is going to wreak havoc in the backfield? I don't know if they found that yet. I mean, now Kelby was held in check week 0 by North Carolina Central's offensive line. Last week, Kelby wreaked havoc. I think he came up with, 5 tackles for loss and 3.5 sacks or something like that. Just an insane performance from Gibbons. But that's going to be the matchup to watch. Is the strength of this offensive line is the offensive tackles. How does Southern scheme up Kelby Gibbons to get one-on-one matchups? And can he win those one-on-one matchups like he did last week compared to week 0 where he just got overpowered at the line of scrimmage?
Let's look on the other side real quick at the defensive line of Bama State, right? Bama State hung their hat on defense for the past few years, but, they really couldn't stop. Once in that second half, UAB realized, hey, the energy and the run game is there for us. Bama State had a hard time stopping them. What seems to be, was it just FBS UAB, or does it seem to be some holes in that defense this year where they're maybe not as strong as we've seen in the past?
I think there are 2 things can be true at once, Perry. I think there's some growing pains. You have a new defensive coordinator. You got some new guys stepping up at key positions. But also, Perry, what people didn't know is 4 to 5 defensive starters were out last week for Bama State.
Jesus Christ.
So you had some freshmen, sophomores, some very inexperienced guys in key spots. And also, too, Perry, we know in these FBS games, and I know people say UAB sucks, but Perry, we've seen some really sucky FCS and FBS teams beat some SWAC teams by a lot of points.
Yeah.
So I just want to remind people before they say, oh, UAB sucks. There were 2 drop picks, Perry, that could have ended scoring drives against UAB, and the linebackers just dropped the football. The other one was the quarterback threw the pass about 7 rows deep in the end zone, and they still called defensive holding, which is a big questionable. There were some moments that Bama State had to stop, but you can't make those type of mistakes in FBS games and and win. I'll say this. I still think their defense is really talented. Keanu Lewis at safety, man, is a monster, and he had a really good week last week. Led them with tackles, with 8 tackles. There's a few guys like Rhodey John Lewis at edge, that's outside linebacker, someone to look at. They still got some 6'3", 6'4" corners on the outside. So I think this defense is better than it showed last week, Perry, and at full strength, they're going to be a force. I still think, though, it takes a small step back from last year's unit, which was just elite, one of the best in the country.
You know, as the camera panned against the team every time, you could tell Bama State is in the weight room. Strength and conditioning looked like it's at an all-time high. Everybody looked like they were up par for football on this level. And let's look at that wide receiver room along with that running back room that's going to be helping assist Andrew Body today, Blue.
My bad, Terry. Say that again. My phone was breaking up on my end.
The wide receiver room and the running back room that'll be helping assist Andrew Body today.
Woo. Perry, this is the spot that I think nobody gives enough credit for Alabama State. And I think it's how they improve their wide receiving corps. Because, Perry, you're the SWAC historian here. When is the last time, outside of maybe Johnson, who transferred up to Western Kentucky, when's the last time that Bama State had, like, a legit wide receiving corps? It's been a while, right? Like, they haven't really been known for their wide receiver development, but they got some guys that can go make a play. I was super impressed with Jalen Jones this past weekend. I think that kid's potential is through the roof, Perry. This is a redshirt freshman. So, or a redshirt sophomore, but, like, still, man, he's out of Ramsey High School in Birmingham, Alabama. He had 6 for 174 in the touchdown. Harrell got in the action and called a touchdown pass. Asa Gregg got in there and made some plays. So I think they have probably the best wide receiving corps that they've had since Body has been there, and probably since E-Rob has taken over as the head coach.
Let's look at the running back room led by Hossclaw back there in the backfield.
Man, I want to see them establish the run more this weekend. It can't be Andrew Body taking it 16 times, Perry. We got to try to keep him healthy. We got to try to sustain him throughout the year. I like Jamari Holtzclaw. I thought he had a solid week last week. I just think they were more focused on letting Body take the offense over last week. I also say Marcus Harris is a guy to look out for, too. He's a guy out of Jackson, Mississippi, went to Jackson Academy. He's like 240. I think he can kind of take the role of power back there. So those are the two. And then also, too, you have your guy Carl Ligon on the in the running back room as well. He played sparingly last week, a former Southern running back. I'll be curious to see how he inserts himself into the rotation.
Let's get ready to take a break, everybody. If you listen, that's my man, Zach McKenna from FCS Football Central. We're talking Alabama State, Southern University, Pete Richardson Classic today. A big matchup of 2 SWAC teams in the non-conference games. If you heard it, though, Athletic Director Roman Banks said it still matters at the end of the day, and I want you to know it matters. And as we get ready to take a break, we'll come back and continue the conversation. Stay tuned. More of the Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well, over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
Best, and they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth-quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
He really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. I have a 4-year-old son, and, when he was born, I had to grow up fast and, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. 1st down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. 1st down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the 1st down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks has a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's in the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it out to the 10. And 2nd and 11 after the holding penalty. Sidearm toss.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. I'm Perry White, joined by my man Zach McKenna from FCS Football Central. We're talking Southern versus Alabama State. Pete Richardson Classic today. Good morning to everybody listening on Talk 107.3 FM around the Baton Rouge capital city area. And good morning to everybody that is watching on our Facebook and YouTube live this morning across the world. Glad to have you guys with us. Be sure to follow the Jaguar Journal across all social media outlets. We are on Facebook, Instagram, X. We're on TikTok. We're also on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. YouTube, we are growing. And we are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Reminder, we are a radio show that's dibbling and dabbling in all the other things. So our first priority is our radio audience on 107.3 FM. Then everything else, we have been growing digitally with the show. And I'm glad that you guys have been growing with us. We've seen the views going up across social media as well as our YouTube. The subscribers are going up. And we're doing this organically, right? No paid ads. We're not on the big screen at the games. This is just by sharing, you telling a friend to tell a friend, and people are seeing us and growing. And think about how big the Jaguar Nation is and so many people who still yet to find out about the Jaguar Journal. That's why we need your help to help us continue to grow so people can know this is their place for all the information that they want and that they're looking for when it comes to Southern, the SWAC, HBCUs, and whatever else that is out there. All right, let's get back to today's game, Southern versus Alabama State. My man, Zach McKenna. Zach, let's look at today's ball game now. This breakdown of Southern versus Alabama State. Your thoughts on this matchup of these two teams coming in today?
Well, I think the first thing, we kind of already hit on it earlier, so I'll just keep this one brief, is that they got to find a way to contain everybody, man. They have to make them uncomfortable in the pocket. Kelby Givens has to find a way to get in the backfield, make him uncomfortable. And when they do flush him out of the pocket, Perry, the linebackers and safeties have to be there to make tackles, and you have to tackle in the open field, man. One missed tackle with this offense can turn into a big gain and or even a touchdown. And you saw, there were some times UAB had the wide receivers, Body made a good throw, and UAB just missed the tackle in the open field. It's got to be important to make your open field tackles in this one. I also think, too, for Southern, man, it's just finding your offensive identity, Perry. It's weird because I have more data points on Southern than I have on all these other teams, Perry. I don't think I'll understand what Southern's identity is right now. It's like they're still trying to figure it out because even though they can run the football, Perry, and I think we both agree they can run the football, we've seen that they've had trouble fumbling as well.
Yeah, and I think also the trouble comes on those short intermediate routes. Quarterbacks not being able to connect with the receivers, so you're looking for the deep ball. And so far, I've seen one deep ball. That was with Darren Morris last week at the end of the first half against Mississippi Valley. And that seems to be what Cameron McCoy's strength is. I like Cameron McCoy's deep throws. I mean, they are beautiful. They're just not quite on the money, but that seems to be his strength, not the short intermediate routes.
Yeah, he's a deep ball merchant. But the problem is, Perry, he's going to miss on the throws you need on third down when it's 3rd and 9, and he's got to hit the hitch. He's got to hit, he's got to hit the comeback. He's got to hit someone over the middle, Perry. he's going to throw the fastball, and it might be on target, it might not. And so that's what you're going to have to live with Cameron McCoy, because obviously Jalen Wood banged up after that hit this weekend. Can Cam McCoy lead this team to a win, Perry? I'm skeptical, and that's my biggest concern is what type of play do we get out of Cam McCoy, because we know he's limited in the passing game. How does Mark Frederick, how does his offensive staff adjust their game plan, because they know there's just certain throws he's not going to be able to make on time and consistently?
And that has to be the biggest circle right now because, as I said, coming into the third game of the season, Southern is yet to have a quarterback pass for over 100 yards. And something else that concerns me is Southern's defense. You give up 31 points to North Carolina Central. You give up 29 points, and not all of it was on the defense. Of course, there was some turnovers that were there, but nonetheless, 29 points up on the board. I'm a little concerned there, but Southern's defense did hold strong against Valley, keeping them out of the end zone numerous times in that ball game. But I still got to circle and say, hey, man, we gave up some plays to a dual threat quarterback that was finding some open lanes to run the ball, as well as connecting with some receivers. And Southern's defense had some poor tackling, allowing those receivers to pick up yards after the catch and in some cases touchdowns.
If that happens again, Perry, and they don't fix that, Bama State wins this game by 14 plus, in my opinion. I think this gets out of hand and down in Baton Rouge. And I know it's a tough place to play, and maybe it takes some time for Bama State to kind of find their footing. But if you just allow Andrew Body to run freely, Perry, you get down before big hits, you allow them to find the open receivers, you don't tackle those receivers in the open field, Bama State's going to run away with this one, and we're going to have a much more uncomfortable situation next week on the Jaguar Journal.
Yeah, I think so, man. And as I look at today's ball game, Southern's defense is key to have to limit Andrew Body, because it seems at Alabama State, they say, hey, we're going to let you do what you do. Andrew Body is undefeated against Southern as well. Remember, he defeated Southern when he was at Texas Southern. So now he has a better cast of players and talent around him over at Alabama State. And Eddie Robinson is bringing his team over here into Baton Rouge. Listen, Southern's defense is going to have to contain Body and company. And do not at any point take for granted Alabama State's wide receivers. They are, in my opinion, from what I saw, the real deal if you allow them to get into space one-on-one, or do not let them get behind you. I think everything is going to be centered with Andrew Body, and, of course, it's going to begin and it's going to end with him. If Andrew Body stays healthy, in my opinion, from what I saw, and look, I know last week was just one game, but it don't take much to know a good quarterback in the SWAC. I want you to know that. And what I saw him do last week, that has SWAC offensive MVP written all over it in this conference, because name me another quarterback that can keep up. And I know Jacobian Morgan is up at Jackson State, right? But Jacobian Morgan is not a game changer like we've seen with Andrew Body. Jacobian Morgan is a game manager with his team. He manages what happens because their team is predicated off the run. Alabama State is predicated on whatever Andrew Body wants to do in that ball game, and that is the offense, and it is all circled around him. If he stays healthy, I think he's there. Southern's defense is going to have a tall order to keep him in check, because even if you can get Givens and company to put the pressure and get him out of the pocket, it's what he can do after he gets out of the pocket with his legs, and we saw that on full display last week, not only with Alabama State against UAB, but we saw it against Valley with Southern with their running quarterback. Other than that, I think also what you talk about, if Body and that offense can get off to a strong start, Southern has a hard time playing from behind, which was evident when I tell you everything is already there for us to see what happened against North Carolina Central. Southern's strong point is running the ball. When you got a quarterback that struggles with the short intermediate routes and looking for the deep ball most of the time to connect on it, Southern doesn't have the explosive receivers that you need for that, in my opinion, to complete those explosive deep ball passes. On top of Cameron McCoy has to be efficient. The run game is going to be there, but the inside zone not going to take you to the promised land if you fall behind. You're going to have a quarterback with the short intermediate routes and making those passes. The tight end has to be Cameron McCoy's best friend today. Mark Fredericks, don't get away from the tight end. At this point, that might be our best position in terms of outside of Darren Morris with a big receiver, tight end, whoever, that with the hands. The tight end position seems to be that for Southern, and it works every time when I went back and looked at the film across the middle. You get those guys in stride, boom, just get it out your hand. I'll take that along with the inside zone, but for me, you got to get Cameron McCoy, and Cameron McCoy today has to have, in my opinion, to make Southern the formidable opponent that they want to be, Cameron McCoy has to have 200 passing yards, and Southern's run game has to be over 200 yards. It has to be a balanced offense, a 200-plus yards of offense, running the ball as well as passing the ball. We're looking at 400 total yards of offense, I feel, if you want to get past Alabama State today, Blue.
Perry, I have a really, really bad stat for you. I don't believe Cameron McCoy has ever thrown for 200 yards in his collegiate career.
Don't tell me.
I'm just gonna tell you. I mean, even his best game at Eastern Michigan, he threw for 73 yards, and his best game at Jackson, he threw for 140 yards. So Cameron McCoy is probably not gonna throw for 200 yards against this defense. I'm just gonna go ahead and give you that non-bold prediction, but I'm with you. Cameron McCoy is going to have to make some throws, man. It's going to be on him. And the problem is, Perry, there's rumors that he's kind of banged up as well. Jeez. So how is he feeling going into this game? And again, we saw Southern's wide receivers, man, had a ton of drops against North Carolina Central as well. If the wide receivers can't help McCoy out, man, Southern's really, really, really hurt right now, man, Perry. And then the other thing, too, is we talk about all these different things that Southern's defense has to do to make Body in this Bama State offense uncomfortable. The problem is Southern's offense is so one-dimensional right now because they can't throw the football, period. The only thing Bama State needs to do is put some guys in the box and make tackles when they get their hands on Trey Holly, because that's where Central failed. They missed a handful of tackles on Holly and McCoy, and then they broke big plays. If Bama State just tackles the running back, it's going to be near impossible for Southern to win this game, in my opinion, with the lack of a passing game.
Give me your score for today's game.
Oh, God. Man. Because I try to be respectful about it.
You ain't got to be respectful. We want real. That's what we do here. That's why people watch this and like me. It's the real. They don't want that. We know politicians here.
So this is what I put in my article that I released on SBS Football Central. I have Bama State 35, Southern 20.
People not going to like this with me. You know, I'm normally a Southern homer. Hey, it don't matter the game. I'm going Southern. But today, I just don't think Southern's offense, and, you know, it's been a while since I've said this here on the show where I picked another team, but I'm going to Bama State today. I think Bama State's get the victory. I have to agree with you. I just don't think Southern's offense can keep up with Bama State. And guess what? I want to be wrong. I want to be so wrong that next week everybody call this show and say, Perry, you don't know what the hell you talking about. How could you pick against Southern? You know, I want to be wrong, but today I'm going with Bama State. I just think what I saw with Andrew Body, I think what I've seen with their offense being able to put up the type of points that they can put up, I just don't see Southern being able to keep up with it. Cameron McCoy has not. Have we ever even seen Cameron McCoy play a full game?
No.
On top of you factor in an injury today, we may be down to the third-string quarterback today. And if that is the case, you know Southern is for sure going to predicate his offense directly off the run. Hell, I see some wildcat or something today, but I just think right now, offensively, we are restricted. I don't see us keeping up with Bama State. And that's my opinion. I think Andrew Body is an athlete. I think Andrew Body, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in this conference. No doubt about it. I don't care what other quarterback you think out there. Andrew Body is the best quarterback. Now, let's see how he performs on the road here in Baton Rouge. But right now, from what I saw last week, I've seen Southern for 2 straight weeks. I know what I see out of Southern. Offensively, right now it's not getting any better because you lose Jalen Woods and you have Cameron McCoy, who may be banged up. Cameron has never played a full game since he's been in the SWAC, nor has he shown us being a 100-yard passer. And if we're going to keep up with this team, you got to be balanced passing the ball and running. I know Southern can run it, but damn, we can't live on it because what you going to do when you fall behind? And if this offense for Bama State continues to put up points the way that we've seen like last week against UAB, that's going to be a tough day. So, Blue, they don't get that much from me, but I'm going with I'm going with Alabama State today, and I hope I'm wrong. Call me next week. I'm going with Alabama State. Jaguar fans, if you out there, dog me in the comment sections next week and call and tell me how bad of a pick that was. Perry, how could you pick against the Jaguars? Let me know I was wrong, but right now, I got to roll with it. I'm going with Bama State, Blue.
I'm with you, man. And I'll say this. There's two stats I'm looking at. Sacks for Southern, because Kelby Gibbons is going to have about 5, and rushing yards. And if they can't throw the football, Perry, Southern's going to have to rush for somewhere in that 200 to 250 range to even have a shot at this one. They're going to have to keep Bama State offense on the sideline, and they're going to have to dominate time of possession. And for both those things to happen on top of not letting Andrew Body put up 300-400 yards to the offense is going to be tough. Because the problem, Perry, we can't pass the football. If it's a bunch of quick 3 and out, Southern's defense is going to be on the field forever. And we saw week 1 what that looks like.
Yep.
With North Carolina Central dominating the time of possession, I really just don't love this matchup for Southern. And I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on this, Perry. What does that do for Southern moving forward? Because the next 2 games, if I'm not mistaken, are Fresno State and Jackson State.
We'll get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, Blue. I ain't ready to get there yet. I just picked against Southern today. You know, I'm sitting here just kind of like, I can't believe I did that, but I want to be wrong. People out there in shock. It is what it is. You want me to keep it real, don't you? I'm a Southern homer. Y'all know I love the Jaguars. I want to be wrong today, but I watched Southern against North Carolina Central. That is a formidable opponent. I'm telling you. What he said, I'm telling you, Alabama State is a formidable opponent. Let me be wrong, but right now, I think I'm going with Bama State. Blue, man, thank you for coming on this morning, man. Man, I appreciate you, man. Let the people know where they can keep up with you at.
Yeah, man. FCS Football Central on SI.com/college/FCS, and the Blue Bloods on all podcast sharing platforms and YouTube. Perry, you already know how it is, man. Jaguar Journal is one of my favorite appearances I get to do, man. So shout out to you, and I appreciate you as always, man.
Man, you my dog. You my dog, Blue. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Yep.
All right, let's get ready to take a break. We come back and close things out. I'll let y'all ponder on my pick. You can spread it around. You can tell everybody you want. Yes, I picked Bama State today. Let me be wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I want to see it. I want to see the Southern team that can beat Bama State. I want to see it because right now, I don't see it. So let's take a break. More of the Jaguar Journal.
HBCU top 5. All right, P. It's a new week. What you got for the people?
Hey, man, my new week, I'm going to start off my top 5 going into week 2. Week 1 was interesting, wasn't it? And number 5 coming in, Howard Bison. They were able to get past Florida A&M down at the Orange Blossom Classic against Florida A&M. Great win for Howard to start the season. Larry Scott and his team found a way to get it done. 10-9 was the final score. And, hey, they knocked off a top 5 team that was in my top 5 last week. And if that's how Howard's going to start the season right now because of where we at, hey, I'll take it. So Howard's number 5. We'll see what changes with that. Number 4, Prairie View was already kind of on the cusp last week. They were on the outside looking in, but I think Tremaine Jackson and what he showed me against Texas Southern Labor Day Classic over there in Houston, he showed, hey, the game ain't over until the clock hits 0. And Prairie View showed it. They got a victory against Texas Southern, who had beat them last year. And for me, not quitting in that game when they could have quit a couple times, found a way to win. They're 1-0 in the season. And right now, going into week 2, hey, that's what matters. Winning games, and they've won a game. They're number 4. Number 3, North Carolina Central. Of course, they started the season off 31-14 against Southern over in Atlanta with a victory. And then they got humbled last week against FCS New Hampshire. Was not a good showing for them, but I still think Trey Oliver has a team. They're 1-1 right now in the season. I think they'll bounce back, but it won't be this weekend. But I think down the line, they'll bounce back. So they're number 3 right now in my top 5. Number 2, Chennis Berry. Didn't see it happening, but he got it done against Wofford, 1-16-15. They're 1-0. This is still a team that played for a Black College National Championship last year, and I think he has his eyes set on playing for another one this year. And what a way to start the season, 1-0 against an FCS opponent in Wofford. They're number 2 on my list. And number 1, I got all the flack across the comments. Jackson State won the championship last year. Why we're number 1 in your poll? Well, guess what? You finally played the game, and you won it. You're number 1 in my poll, and Jackson State is in the top 25 in the FCS. They moved up this week, and guess what? Getting it done against the CAA opponent in Hampton, 28-14 was the final score. So I got to roll with Jackson State. They are the highest ranked HBCU in the latest top 25 FCS poll. Matter of fact, they're the only HBCU ranked in the top 25 polls. So Jackson State back at the top, defending Black College National Champion. So Howard, number 5, Prairie View, number 4, North Carolina Central, number 3, South Carolina State, number 2, and Jackson State, number 1, going into week 2 for me. And guess what, people? It's going to change. Don't get your panties in the wire right now. There's plenty of football to go. Things are going to change. Who you see today, you may not see next week. So just hold your horses. It always works itself out.
All right, everybody. It is the Jaguar Journal. I'm Perry White. Good morning. Glad to have you guys with us as we get ready to close things out in about 4 minutes. Want to thank everybody out there listening on our Talk 107.3 FM airways across the Baton Rouge capital city area. As always, man, I appreciate you guys. I'm sure that with LSU in town this week against Louisiana Tech, a lot of their fans are listening as well as they're getting up to date with Southern today, and as well as our Southern fans all across the land here in the 225, 504, 318, and all the way around. And everybody listening and watching on our YouTube and Facebook, glad to have you guys with us today all across the world. It is game day. It is the Pete Richardson Classic. It is Southern University versus Alabama State. Southern today will honor Pete Richardson. You will see the field, the new field that is unveiled today, the turf with Pete Richardson's name on it. It is A.W. Mumford Stadium with Pete Richardson Field. Pete Richardson will be honored today with the 1995 Black College National Championship team today during today's game. Kickoff today is set for 6 o'clock on ESPN Plus if you want to watch Southern versus Alabama State. It's going to be a big game, big atmosphere. If you all about the bands, of course, both bands will be there, Southern University's Human Jukebox and whatever Alabama State's band called. They'll both be there in attendance, give you everything you want in terms of entertainment and the big game itself between Southern and Alabama State. I'm looking forward to it. Of course, you heard my pick. You heard my analysis on the game. I just right now do not think Southern's offense can match what Bama State offense can put out there in terms of production. To me, Southern's team is good, and it's 2 ways for me that Southern games go. What I've seen with this team from last year to this year, and it seems true again this year. Against the teams, the formidable opponents, and I say formidable opponents are the championship contenders. I think North Carolina Central is a championship contender in the MEAC. When you see Southern go up against the North Carolina Central, Jackson State, it's a tough day. You can't inside zone them to death. They got the D-line. They got the depth where eventually it turns into a brick wall. And in the second half, what we've seen in those games, those teams have pulled away from us because they found what they needed in the passing game in order to make it work. And as we saw with North Carolina Central, the running game, as we saw with Jackson State last year and Irv Mulligan, the running game. You need quarterbacks just enough to manage to get the ball to those receivers and the run game to take off. I personally, along with Jalen Woods being out this week, putting the game in Cameron McCoy, who seems to already maybe dealing with an injury. Cameron McCoy has not played a full game, even when he was at Jackson State to now at Southern. He has not yet played 1 through 4 quarters. He is yet to have 100 yards passing as Southern's quarterback. To me, that's a concern if I'm looking to win a game. How much can Mike Franklin, Trey Holly, Jason Gabriel, and the rest of that running back room do on their own when you're going to have an offense across from you that can get down the field in terms of Andrew Body, who, once again, I think is good as advertised. I think right now, if you come to today's game, you're going to watch the best quarterback in the SWAC. And did you know Andrew Body is top 5 in Texas high school football history in passing? I want to make sure you understand the level of athlete that this young man is. Just from passing the ball, he's top 5 all time in Texas high school football. You know how big Texas is? You know how many athletes have come through Texas? If you out there, today is a must-see game. You need to come over to Bluff. You need to watch Southern versus Alabama State. These are 2 teams in high regard, Southern out of the SWAC West, Alabama State out of the SWAC East. It is a non-conference matchup with conference implications on the line. Pride and bragging rights. And Southern has to hold it down at home today. I'm going Alabama State over Southern. Prove me wrong, Southern. This is one time in my life I really want to be wrong, but because I'm a realist and I got to talk to you guys, I got to keep it real. I can't sugarcoat it. I won't go against. I got to tell you the real. I just don't know right now. And if this thing goes the way I think it is, it may get ugly. But I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. And if I'm wrong, y'all call and trash me next week in the comments and on the show. I will sit here. I'm a football official. It ain't nothing I ain't heard. I can take the pressure. You can criticize me like you do the coaches. I'm okay. Thick skin. It's black and it's thick, baby. It ain't nothing I ain't heard. Yeah, hey, look. Oh, pause. Okay. My bad, Mike. Y'all follow the Jaguar Journal on Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Good luck, Jaguars, today and next week. I'll be back here. Good luck to everybody out there, man. I hope you have a good time today. Go Jags. What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.